All right, Coach, we're going to start with Dwayne Rankin with the Arizona Republic.
Coach, first, congratulations on making the playoffs. You guys, it's official now. And I know you were waiting for it to be official before you could really speak on it, but just now that it is, just how are you feeling about that in this 2 years to be able to accomplish this?
Well, I'm grateful. I had no idea that, we get here this quickly. And so I just want to give praise to God for what he's been able to do through our program with all of our guys in a short period of time. And I'm cognizant that it has been relatively quick for us to get here. And he's done so many amazing things in our program. And our players, they've worked their tails off. They've done everything I've asked them to do. And I'm just happy for them. And it'll sink in maybe later on tonight or, tomorrow. But I just have a lot of gratitude in my heart for this process here in Phoenix, the people that we get to work with. And like I told the players just now, more to do, more to come. We are not satisfied. We're not settling. We feel like we're just scratching the surface as far as the way we want to play, the way we can play. But this is a huge moment for our organization. It's a huge moment for the fans in this city and in this state. And sometimes you just got to pause and just take stock in what's happening. And for that, I'm a grateful coach and man right now.
Quick follow on that, Coach. You talked about after the bubble, the controlling your own destiny. So how was that, not only to do that tonight, but against a team that's right there with you guys and is one of the better teams in the league? You hadn't beat them yet this year, but to have all that happen tonight in a game where, it got kind of fragmented a little bit, but you guys were able to pull it out.
Well, I mean, they're not just a good team, they're a great team. Some people pick them to win the championship. And so for us to do it against them, they were missing a guy, we're missing a few guys. The way we did it, going small, going semi-big, being able to close it down the stretch, it was a playoff type game. And I thought our defense in the second and fourth quarter was the tail of the tape, so to speak, to hold those guys in the 20s, low 20s. Was huge for us. But, they're a good team. And, if we do what we're supposed to do, we could see them again. And those guys are playoff tested. And so you can learn a lot from playing in a game like this.
Next up is Kellen Olson with Arizona Sports, and then Gina Mizell.
Hey, Monty, Chris made that huge push in the fourth, but he had that push in the third as well. You've seen him do that a whole lot when he senses where the game's at and starts to take over a bit. Can you just speak to his ability to consistently find his spots to do that in the dominant way he does?
He just seems to get stronger as the game progresses. And he came over to me and said that tonight. He just felt strong down the stretch. His mentality doesn't change as far as, there's no nerves, there's no panic in him. He's been there so many times. It speaks to the talent that he has, but it also speaks to the work and the experiences that he's been in over the course of his long career. And our guys trust him. They just expect him to come through. And I'm happy with the results when he has the ball in his hands. When he and Booker closing out games, I can live with the results.
Only one set of ears here, but that felt like it was the loudest the arena has been all year. Can you speak to the impact you're starting to feel the fans make on the game and that sort of returning after a long wait for it?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think we have right now, having traveled a little bit, even in the garden the other night, our place is the loudest place I've been in so far. So shout out to our fans that come out, the ones who are watching that can't come. We feel the support, but it was electric in there tonight. And I can't wait till we're able to get more fans in there. It's going to be a huge advantage for us.
Next, we'll go to Gina Mizell with Suns.com, and then Gerald Burgay.
Hey, Monty, you talked about on the road trip a lot, just being stressed as a team and those growth moments that you were going through. Was tonight another example of that with, again, two great teams, stakes on the line, just the way you guys withheld every push, just all that stuff combined?
Yeah, I mean, as I've said before, if I had hair, it probably would fall out in those moments. I mean, those are tense moments, but it's the only way we're going to grow as a team. Cam Johnson and McHale, DA, Book, like those guys have never been in those situations. So for us, it's huge, because this is how it's going to be in the playoffs. Possession, timeout adjustments, physicality, emotional ups and downs with the referees. And so you don't like it. You wish you could win every game by 20 points and move on to the finals, but probably not going to happen that way. Everything you want's on the other side of hard. That's a hard for every team. And it's our job to get on the other side of it.
Next is Gerald Brigay with Fansided, and then Dave King.
Hey, Coach. Pretty big first half boost from Frank Kaminsky there. He got a lot of easy looks at the rim and positioned himself well on some of those dives to the rim. Just for him to not be in the rotation and then step up big over these last couple games with Saric and Crowder out. I mean, what can you say about his mindset and ability to produce in that kind of situation?
Speaks to the work, and it speaks to his attitude. Every day, even when he wasn't playing, he was in the gym and his routine never changed. When you look down the bench during the game, his eyes are on me or his eyes are focused on the game. And so he was ready. And I've had talks with Frank while he was out, and I just told him, we value what he brings to the table. I told him he should not be in the position he was in the preseason as far as contracts are concerned. He's proven that he's a rotation player. And he had the same kind of impact in New York the other night on the defensive end. And tonight he took advantage of, their switches around the basket. Frank's a smart player, and you saw that tonight.
Have you seen that type of buy-in from guys who have been kind of in and out of the rotation? Because it seems like a consistent theme with this group that you have in particular. And how comforting is that heading into the playoffs where, there could be injuries, there could be foul trouble, whatever might come up on a given night, to have that type of buy-in?
Yeah, we have. We've seen and felt it from our guys, but we've seen character and integrity on a daily basis from the guys who don't get to play. They come in and get their work in. They're still playing 4-on-4, sometimes 5-on-5 with the coaches so they can stay relatively sharp. They're locked in timeouts. They're encouraging their teammates. Those are the kinds of guys we want to have in our program. And it started in the offseason. I was pretty straight with our guys when I told them what the situation was. It could be like this. I think when you're honest with guys and they know what to expect, I think it makes it somewhat easier. But at the same time, Etwans and Langstons and Franks, those guys are high character guys, and they've been around long enough to know that they can be an asset to a program if they approach it the way that they have.
Final question is Dave King with Bright Side of the Sun.
Hey, Monty, great win tonight. Congrats on making the playoffs. I've got a couple of quick questions for you. One is DA had a tough time scoring tonight, getting his shot to drop, but he seems like he's really consistently coming up big with offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter to keep possessions alive. And then the second part is just how Cam Payne has stepped up. He was out of the league a year ago, and now tonight he's scoring 15 points and looking like a difference maker.
Yeah. Well, DA, you're going to have nights like that offensively. I really feel like he's not getting the benefit of the whistle on lobs and duck-ins. There's a ton of contact. I can see it from my vantage point, and that's not me crying for calls. I can see it. So I think that has an effect on him in the paint. But his offensive rebounding is second to none and so timely for us. And even the ones that he doesn't get, he puts a lot of pressure on defense. He has great hands. He has great instincts. I think he had 6 tonight, and they're huge for us. for sure. And as far as Cam is concerned, you just never know when you're going to get your shot. You just got to be ready. This time last year, he wasn't even on our minds just yet. And so he's worked his tail off. He's a totally different player from a maturity standpoint than the guy that I was around in OKC. And that's not saying he was a bad guy or anything like that. He just didn't know. Now he understands the work, the dedication, and the sacrifice. And he's turned himself into an NBA player with a lot of hard work. But this time last year, he had no clue he'd even be in this position. We pick him up and he goes to the bubble and he plays his butt off. And now he's become an important part of our program. And he's certainly a rotation guy for us that we're going to need to do something special here on this team.
All right, Cameron, we're going to start with David Brandt with the Associated Press and then Dwayne Rankin.
Hey, Cam, congratulations on the win and the playoff berth. I was just curious, from a point guard's perspective, watching what Chris Paul does at 35 years old, just looking like the youngest player on the court half the nights. What's that? I mean, it's got to be pretty incredible to watch from your standpoint.
Absolutely. That's CP3. Nah, man, it's amazing. He stepped up big in that fourth quarter, and just to be able to watch him and for him to be able to communicate with me and talk to me during the game, talk to me after the game, man, it's a blessing to be in this position. He played well tonight, did everything on both ends. And like you said, it's incredible to watch. And I'm glad to be in the position I'm in to be able to watch him every night.
Next up is Dwayne Rankin with the Arizona Republic and then Dave King.
Hey, Cam, you guys had a couple of guys out with Jay and Dario, and you came in and was energized from the get. Just maybe what was your mindset knowing you guys were a little shorthanded, two guys that can produce, and how your mindset going into tonight?
Honestly, I never feel like we shorthanded, even if guys are out.
Okay.
I feel like we got 15 strong guys that can come in at any point in time and turn it on. And that's the blessing that our team has. We're very deep, and man, it's next man up. And Torrey Craig stepped in that position, played well. I came in, did my job, did what I had to do. Like I always say, the bench got to push the lead or sustain the lead, and that's what we try to do every night.
Final question is Dave King with Bright Side of the Sun.
Chris, a year ago at this time, you were out of the league, and then you got the call from Monty. You talked to us about that last summer. Now, a year later, you're scoring 15 points in a game that puts you guys into the playoffs, and this franchise in the playoffs for the first time in 11 years. Have you had a chance to think about that and reflect on that since the end of the game at all?
I think about it all the time. I think about it all the time. I try to come in every day and try to work my tail off because I could be at home. And I never want that feeling again. So every night, I'm as humble as I can be. I come out here and try to play as hard as I can. And I'm just trying to stay in the league, try to stick in this league. And like Dwayne Rankin said before, it's cool to have CP out there because I get to learn. I get to learn the little things. And Coach Munt as well. They get to teach me how to manage the game. And it's a blessing just to be around these guys and get the opportunity every night. And I just try to come out, do my role, come out and just try to play as hard as I can. And I live with the results.
All right, Chris, first up is going to be Dwayne Rankin with the Arizona Republic and then Kellen Olson.
Chris, obviously, when the trade went down and you came here, you knew Devin and you knew the guys, but then once it all came together and you looked at this group, did you even foresee what has happened since you guys clinching the playoff spot with 10 games left and you having the kind of impact in helping this happen?
Man, I feel like I say this all the time. Like I know who I am. You know what I mean? I knew coming into the situation, like I knew who Book was. And Book had told me about some of the guys on the team. I knew for playing for Monty, how detail-oriented he was, you know, so then when I got here and got a chance to see the culture that they had already built, I mean, it's special, man. I say this all the time. For me, being away from my family, teams like this, they become your family. So when you're excited to go to practice every day, and off days are cool, for my body recovery. But I genuinely miss these guys when we don't have practice, and that's rare. That's rare. And like I said, I'm grateful for it.
Let's follow. Just curious about tonight and knowing what was at stake, and if you guys win, you would get in the playoffs. But against a team like that, and then having other guys step up throughout the night, just what was that feeling like for you? I mean, you did your thing, but other guys made that happen as well.
I hate to sound like a broken record, but that's the story of our team. Night in and night out, it's always the next guy up. Payne, I was just sitting here, the energy, the way the bench stays into the game. DA, I don't know what the box score looked like, but the offensive rebounds that he gets, the defense that he plays, I'm glad that the guys on our team are getting to play on, this national level so people can see the work that they've been putting in.
Next up is Ellen Olson with Arizona Sports, and then Cameron Cox.
Chris, there was a 3-minute stretch in the third quarter, and then obviously what you did in the fourth quarter where you were able to take over the game. Monty said you told him that you felt fresher as the game went on. Is that what it is for you, is kind of feeling out the game for the first half and then falling into a more comfortable place in the second half? Can you talk us through those segments when you feel like you can dominate the game like that?
I mean, it's nice to have that luxury too, to where you can pick your spots, because you got somebody like Book who won't kill all game long, and we just got so many different guys who may have it going. But for me, it's crazy. I feel like I started feeling my best in the fourth quarter. I don't know why. I think it's my training, but it's fun. Those games are fun because the energy, the intensity, the way that they defend, they guard you. It's somewhat like a playoff atmosphere.
Final two questions are Cameron Cox with 12 News, and then David Brandt.
Hey, Chris, how difficult was it to get to this point, to make the playoffs with this team and turn the culture around here?
Wasn't that hard? It's the work, you know what I'm saying? It's the opportunity. It's the opportunity. As long as you do the work day in and day out, you expect this. Like, seriously. Like, it's a lot of work that goes into it, and you just do it. And it's days that nobody sees it. You don't do it for a pat on the back. You do it because you want to see results. And I think that's what everybody on our team does, and we're going to continue to do.
Final one is David Brandt with the AP.
Hey, Chris, I was looking through the birthdays on the team, and I think DeAndre Ayton was 11 years old the last time the Suns were in the playoffs, and you were still an NBA star even 11 years ago. So is that kind of incredible, like how long you've been doing this and how many different teams you've led, and just your experience, just getting to this point yet again?
I mean, damn, boss. Think about it. They remind me day in and day out how much older I am than them. You know what I mean? You don't have to remind me right now. Trust me, they remind me day in and day out. But it's cool, man, because Payne was just saying they learning from me, man. I learned so much this year. Even now, game by game, I learn from the guys on our team. And it's fun. It's fun. And as long as you compete, you play hard, you can live with the results. And I think that's the way our team approaches it.
All right, Book, first up is going to be Dwayne Rankin with the Arizona Republic.
Evan, first, congratulations on making the playoffs. I know it's been a long road to get here, and you got more to go after, but just being in this moment, just as of right now, how's it feel?
Feels great. It really does. It's been a long time coming, like you said. And I've just shut my mouth for 5 years, and Coach Monty always says when preparation meets opportunity. And that's the situation we're in right now. So, I've been saying for a long time, I don't want to look back and what I've gone through, but I wouldn't change the path for anything either. I always say basketball and life, relate to each other. And that's how, I've grew up is through basketball. So every situation that I've had, I've just, seen the bright side of it, kept my head down and kept working. it finally pays off.
I know that it was interesting. This is my only other thing I had was in the bubble, you probably got closer to guys than maybe you had before, just because of partly the circumstances, but what you guys were trying to go after. And now looking at the relationship you have now with Jay and Chris and all these guys, does that make this even more rewarding that you have special relationships with this group and you guys are getting ready to try to take this to even a higher level?
Yeah. It's been a special season with COVID protocols and, everything we've went through as a group, since the bubble. But like I said, I have a lot of relationships throughout this league, from the situations that I was in the past, of a lot of trades, a lot of coaching staffs, different training staff. So I'll never take that for granted either. Those relationships mean a lot to me. The mentorship that I got from, a lot of my OGs, I'll never forget. So, I have love around the league, league-wide. But this group here is special. We're doing something that I obviously haven't done in the past, and it's fun to be a part of it.
Next, we'll go to Kellen Olson with Arizona Sports, and then Brendan Clean.
Hey, Book, this was the loudest the arena was all year. I know you guys feed off that, and for something to be gone so long, what did it feel like to have that kind of energy back for a game this big?
Yeah, I love it. I love them type of games. I love them type of atmospheres. The fans brought it today, and not only have I been waiting for 5 years, I think the organization as a whole, it's been 11, 12 years of waiting for this moment right here. So they deserve it. They deserve to make that noise in there. And obviously a big matchup game versus the Clippers brought that out too. So it was fun.
Throughout the year, you've said with Chris that's Chris Paul. He had 25 in the second half. That's Chris Paul. Your thoughts on his play tonight?
That's Chris Paul.
Hey.
Yeah, I've been watching him for a really long time, and me and my dad used to always talk about it. We'd be like, man, you notice how he switches it up between the first half and the second half, and now playing with them, you notice the gear flip of getting everybody involved. And I'm not saying he doesn't do that in the second half, but he's laser sharp locked in, and I'm happy to learn from him every day. I think everybody on this team, I heard you guys laughing about his age. We give him a hard time all the time, but that's a lot of knowledge he has, and he shares it with all of us, and we all listen.
Next, we'll go to Brendan Clean with Locked On Suns, and then Gina Mizell.
Hey, Book, just thinking about this game specifically, you guys win the rebounding battle. You're able to, like you said, kind of balance the scoring with a bunch of different guys. What did you feel like was the difference in winning this game?
We just fought all the way through. It was high intensity. We defended at a high level, which usually leads to success for us. And, they switched it up and go a lot of small ball lineups, and we got a lot of offensive rebounds late that led to second chance points that were big for us. So, we hang our hat on our defense. And tonight we did that as a collective group of switching 1 through 5, and DA being the anchor down there protecting the rim.
Next is Gina Mizell with Suns.com, and then Paul Richardson.
Hey, Book, you mentioned it's been 11 years since this franchise got to the playoffs, but I know what a student of the game you are. So just when you think about this franchise and the playoffs from years past, like what's the first thing that comes into your mind, and kind of now you're going to be a part of that here in a couple weeks?
Honestly, the fans. You've seen the murals on the walls. Well, they're not there anymore, but they used to be through here of Western Conference Finals when, they filled the streets. And, the love has been there since I've been there from the beginning. But, anybody that used to play for the Suns in the past would come through and be like, there's a whole different level to it, believe me. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward, packing the place out. Hopefully we get to that point, and the atmosphere and the energy and the vibe around the whole city, to be up.
Final two questions are Paul Richardson with the Sports Cave and Dwayne Rankin.
Devin, I know you had a minute to think about and kind of take everything in, but as that clock was winding down, and it's been 11 years, and it's been 5 years for you, as that clock was winding down, what was going through your mind that, yeah, we haven't got well to the end, but we've gotten to this point?
Yeah, I was honestly thinking about Friday already, and playing against Utah, for the top of the conference. So I'm excited for that matchup too.
All right, Book, final question is Dwayne Rankin.
Obviously, I saw the interview you did on ESPN, and you were talking about how Chris was saying that, 16 teams make the playoffs. So, like, hey, man, in your mind, you were like, yeah, I'm on that same page. So we're asking you about the current playoff, but when you look at the team, are you like, man, I want to get somewhere else? You don't want to rush it, but how much is your mind even thinking of, we got bigger things ahead of us?
Yeah, we got a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. And this team is special. So, I really am excited and grateful, to make the playoffs with this team. But what else would we have done, with this much talent around here and the culture that we've built? It's kind of hard to be too excited about it. I think I'm more excited about waiting the 5 years rather than making it with this group, because we have talented players all the way through. And there's no, like Chris said, the 16 teams make the playoffs. That's more than half. And we're not on the bottom end of that. I know that for sure.
Thank you for the time, Book.
Appreciate it. All right.